Ladies and gentlemen, everyone, hello. This is the ParaPodcast. As we always do, we're bringing you African emergency medical care, paramedicine. We're taking it to the world, and we want you to understand what's happening there. And also, if we have things that we'd like to learn from the world, we want to bring it to Africa. That's what we do too. As usual, we have the usual suspect from different countries. Lucky today, our guest comes from a country where Tulani is. So we've got Tulani Sibanda, we've got Elias Thomas, who is in New Zealand, and we have a special guest today. I'm very excited to have I think it's important that I say this. I know you don't like these titles, but I have Dr. Farhat, Dr. Hassan Farhat. He prefers to be called Hassan. Yeah, he prefers that. And we're going to do that. But now and then remind him that he's a doctor, you know? And I learned that he's got 2 PhDs. We're still going to talk about did he get that. We're still struggling with the first one. All right. So you've got that special guest. Yeah.
Before you start, I just want to expose Melus. Elias, I hope you jump in on this.
Yeah.
Hassan, the way... And look, there is some greatness and the stuff that you've done, but Melusi has been like, when are we going to have Hassan? We want Hassan, we want Hassan, we want Hassan. Yeah. Look, I understand the work that you've done and it is really, really good. Just that.
2 PhD.
I tell them all the time.
Thank you, guys. Actually, thank you so much. Thank you, Malusi, Tulani, and Elias for this great introduction. And thank you for inviting me into this. And yes, actually, I prefer to be called Hassan. Yeah. So and it's an honor actually to be here and to showcase some of our African experience and to share it with each other, so we can know how to improve and move on and make a greater future for our region.
Yeah, I possibly sent a message to you last year already as we're here now. And I said, Hassan, yes, I think we should do this. I think you're still busy with some big projects that you're busy with, which was okay. Let me go back how I met you. I think what made me excited was that the way I met you, I didn't think that you were an academic. I think you were just operations chilled. We were sitting at the steps of the clinic we were working in that island in Qatar.
Yes.
During the World Cup.
Qatar, yes.
Yeah, Qatar Island, we were sitting there. And when I approached, I'm not sure if I was finishing the shift or starting the shift. I think it should be starting the shift. So who is this person here? And you were chilling, the way you were so relaxed and you're talking to people. Now, how you know a person is integrated well, they're talking to different nationalities, you know? Okay, so I noticed, all right, this brother here is talking to different nationalities. Let me go and jump in there. And then I joined the conversation. I think there were nurses from Australia and from the UK, and then I jumped in the conversation. And it was flowing. I was excited.
Paramedic, yeah.
Yeah. It was good. And I never thought. And then the next thing, I think I saw a paper by Gangaram.
Yes, Ajit, Dr. Ajit, yeah, my friend.
Yes, I was like, oh, Ajit Gangaram. All right. Oh, Hassan is also there. And then Hassan is publishing. And then I sent a message to Hassan. I went to LinkedIn and said, Hassan, congratulations, brother. I didn't know that you're into this stuff, you know? And then that's how things started. And then when we started the podcast, in my heart, I said, I want Hassan. I need to talk to Hassan so that he is part of this.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Malusi. Yes,
thanks
for this.
Thanks for coming. I think with other people, sometimes they say they're going to come and and you doubt if they want to come, you know. But with you, I was sure that you want to come, right? Okay,
Thank
right.
you, absolutely.
Now, let's start from here. Who is Hassan? Who's Dr. Farhat?
Yes, just Hassan. Okay. Thank you, Malusi. Thank you for bringing back those good memories. And actually, I think I would start from there, you know, from the story that you said. So I came from an operational background, and actually, I'm a person that I don't like to show off about anything that we are doing. And in my mind, I have always believed that the world is enough for everyone, and we need to be together. And I know the differences actually, they would make us actually nearer and closer to each other rather than actually away and fighting. And that's probably what I believe in. And so I'm mostly if I ask him about myself, so what I can say about myself, that I'm a finisher person. So when I start something, I want to finish it. And in every project I like challenging things. So every challenging idea when I do it, actually, so I like actually to finish it and to go through it. So seeing things through and until the end, I never stop. That's what the most importantly doing. So I can say I'm a determined person, finish it like something like that. And most importantly, what it fuels me, as you mentioned, is the lean leadership. So what's the lean leadership? It's about just being humble. That's what the most important, and believe always in continuous improvement and that you can change things. And most importantly, that you empower everyone around you, because there is a leader in every one of us, somewhere there. We have just to believe in them and to encourage them actually to shine, to show what they have, to show their capabilities. And in order to succeed at any project, even operational, like you said, we worked during the World Cup, the people, they have to believe that you are one of them and not just a leader. There is that barrier, vertical relationship. That, from operational point of view, that's maybe very important. But in terms of the relation with the team, I think blending with each other, that's the most important. So if you saw me during the World Cup, yes, so I was actually walking everywhere. I was carrying the team's chair. So actually I asked them to walk, just to walk through that, quietly. What Einstein said were sometimes that the world cannot change without we change our thinking. Okay. So we have to change our thinking first, and that's the most important. And I want to mention something, so I know it always from from a Muslim background, and I'm sure exists in every paper. And from the Quran, it says that Allah indeed will not change the condition of a people until they change what's in themselves. And this is what I mean. I mean, we have, yes, actually to change what we have in our heart to be able to build together a relationship, regardless of the differences. As I said, the differences actually make us closer, guys, and closer. And actually, we should. It help us to build together a better future for our region. I hope that. I hope I gave you just some idea.
We're dropping past today. Someone might be wondering, we can see that he's likely from Africa. They're looking at you. Where were you born and when did you start migrating? And what happened between being there in the country where you were born to migration?
Yeah, yes, thank you. I'm Tunisian, so I was born from Tunisia. So it's in North Africa, as everyone knows. So it's an African country. Yes. So when I used to work there, I worked there in the disaster management, first in the Ministry of Health as a coordinator of the national unit of disaster management with a paramedicine background. Of course, it's senior health emergency technician or technology in Tunisia, which is a bachelor degree in emergency medicine in the francophonic system, let's say.
Okay.
So this is it. And actually, I had the opportunity to migrate at that time. So we worked in this unit in collaboration with WHO. So we participated at managing many of the events together, such as during the Libyan war and during the border, and the inter-displaced population in the border. And I had the opportunity actually to migrate elsewhere, but one of them was Qatar here in the paramedicine. And the reason I chose Qatar is it's a very nice place that when you can settle with your family. And I was married at that time. My wife is with me now. So it was the best place actually to let's say, if you decide to build a good family in good condition, it's here. And actually I appreciate it. And I would like, by the way, to appreciate my wife because she was standing behind me. I want to say behind me, actually. She was driving with me every single step during our journey. We started building, ourselves from scratch. And she stood with me in every single step. And she always believed, supported me in whatever I have done and in my beliefs. And we shared the same vision together.
I think it gives a license to call you Dr. Squared.
Yes, definitely. She wants to tease me. She does that actually from time to time because she knows that I don't like to be called doctor. So yes, she does that actually.
You migrating from Tunisia to Qatar, what would you say were some of the push factors for you to move to Qatar? Because we're trying to understand that from another brother, from another mother, from another African country, especially from Tunisia, what are those factors that have made you to take a decision together with your wife to say, okay, we like Qatar, it's a very good country, but what were those reasons?
Okay, thank you, Tulani, for this question, and let's go straightforward into the answer. So, unfortunately, what we are facing in most of the African countries, that you don't have the opportunity to improve and change and be impactful, and there are always a lot of barriers and people that will try to, I have to say, to bring you down or step you back, wouldn't allow you. And this includes not only people, let's be honest, because it's related to many other factors, such as the environment and the thinking itself. Okay. And when I read about Qatar and I mean, the system, how it works here and how it's very, advanced. And actually, at that time, I was surprised that it was actually a very advanced system and it's aiming to compete with the international other system in the world. And it's a country that people, they help to support you, to advance and move on with your career. So that's one of the objectives, and and what made it actually easier here that we share the same culture as well. So when I came here, actually, I didn't regret that decision, and actually, I would be thankful that I think that was a very impactful decision when we moved to Qatar, and it was actually it helped boosting to be the person who I am today.
Interesting.
And I think Tulani would share the same perspective as well as me.
Look, I think from what you said, I'm just going to share a little bit, is that recently we interviewed Dr. Ravin Naidu, and part of that, and I like this podcast because we get to learn from each other through the conversations that we're having. He mentioned something like the pestle mnemonic, and he said that there's factors that drive and shape the market trends and the life that we live. And those things are influenced by the political. I think the pestle mnemonic is related to political, environmental, societal, technological, legal, and economic factors. So when you look at all of these things, they have an influence on us as individuals, whether you're in America or different regions, is that they will always have an influence, whether political, environmental, societal, even economic factors that would make us to migrate from the countries that we coming from. So I agree with you when you say that. I almost wanted to say it's difficult to change between Dr. Hassan.
It's fine, John Hassan, please. And let's be honest, Tolani. So we are not doing politics here, but I was, but I'm known a person, and you know me, guys, that I always say the truth, regardless of what it's cost. But the politics leadership here is very supportive, also here to the advancement. And they provide everything so you can improve and boost, let's say, the capabilities within the new generation, which is actually I appreciate. And I wish it's not about the age, because I wish, honestly, if the leadership where I'm coming from or whatever, they change their thinking and they see really such experience. And it's not actually about money. It's about, and it's not at all about, but most importantly about what we want to do and what we aim to do, and how much we are willing to change the world and our countries.
Yeah. And to those of you who hope that they're going to hear what Ravin said about the pestle, that was behind the scenes. You didn't hear that. You didn't record that. It was us talking behind the scenes. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Now, Hassan, tell me, one wonders, like one PhD is hard to get. Now you go and get two. How does it work? How did you do that?
Okay, so everyone actually, they keep asking me the same question, and I only realized that I only realized the importance of that only when people actually ask me this question. So sometimes also myself, I say, how did I do that? So let's say I got my two, and for the record, I got my two PhDs. I published 7 papers from one of them and 6 from the other one, and all in Q1 and Q2 journal. So it's not just any work; it's really serious work. I need also to be grateful to the system that we have also there in Tunisia, and I hope that other of the African countries also as well they follow. So the first important thing that I was supported by the best, let's be honest, and there the system, it allows actually, as long as you are one of the pioneer and you are very well, so you can study in the government for free. It's the government who's paying the fees. As long as you are, of the pioneer. Well, one of the very best. It's like that. And I got the opportunity to be supported with some of the professors that I will be grateful forever, like Professor Ahmed Gargouri, Professor Muhammad bin Tiab, Professor. I don't want to forget any name. So
I'm sure they're not going to forgive you if they do.
So I have always Professor Mosuf Khadraoui. So I have, that's bad. It's remembering names very hard. So I will be grateful for them forever. That's one of the factors. The other important factor, again, and I'm not trying to play, let's say, safety rules, because when you speak about wives, it's always about safety, and you need to be careful not to get them upset. But I consider, that's very absolute truth, that we need to be careful to be aware of. But honestly, Kauthar, my wife, she's the best person I have ever met. She's the first person I loved, and she's the love of my life. And she supported me from every single step through. She was behind every time I wanted to do something. She was always behind and support me. And probably because we believe in the same concept. So we have something in Tunisia, we call it, when we are studying in, so we're pioneer in the elementary school. So they took that best of the best and they put them in special program. And they keep following them until the high school, until graduate. She was one of those, So we share the same vision, and she works with me here in the MS in Qatar in paramedicine as well. No. So, and she's undergoing her PhD as well, and I'm now her mentor or supervisor.
Oh yeah, supervisor.
So it's mainly like this, but most importantly is Malusi. I'm honestly a very determined person. When I do something, I want to do it very well and accurately, and I want actually to be impactful. So I remember when I having always these thoughts, let's do this project, let's do this research project, and they were actually very impactful. And this will, with the capabilities and the opportunities, came together, and the support as well. So those were the drivers of this, let's say, success.
We're coming to your research, Hassan, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Before we get into the research, I think I had a question. Just
yes,
before we get into it, and of course, I understand the support aspect of it, and I also understand that you were able to sort of get a little bit of free education. Can I say in Tunisia? Is that correct? Is that how I'm getting it correctly?
It's not. You pay something symbolic, but not for everyone. Of course, you have to be. How to say that? Yeah, exactly, outstanding. Okay. So it's not for everyone.
Okay.
And actually, I was outstanding in all of my studies, so that's why I always that's one of the driver. I was always, when I apply for something, I got chosen. That's one of the reasons.
Okay, that makes sense. And can you just run us through, the gap between your two PhDs? Like, did you take at least 6 months off and then you got the next one? Because I'm trying to understand. Because I know everyone's getting feedback. It's a lot of stress. You want a little bit of break. It's a lot of trauma. Then you jump right next into the other one.
I just got one now. I haven't taken card yet.
You will be
or you're just trying to stay on par.
You will be surprised, Elias, if I would tell you that I run them both together at the same time.
Why?
So there was a gap actually of few months between them. So when I started my first PhD and I was working on this for the first project that I was passionate in, and actually, so this is it. I'm very hardworking. So I was working on multiple projects at the same time. You can't imagine. Besides my work, so if I remember the time when I was doing this, I used to sleep I think 4 hours, and along the 6 years, I never went outside to a coffee shop or anywhere. It's always staying here at home with my laptop. So I remember my wife was joking sometimes. She said, "I think you are married to your laptop, not to me." It's like this. So I always take my books with me and my iPad, let's say, and the items that I have them, even in my car or wherever I go. So I always try to do things in between. Even when I worked in the field, sometimes I do clinical before and I work in the field. So what I do, I bring my laptop in between calls. I write on something, then I put it back. So honestly, I work so hard. So let's be honest. And some of the projects in the second PhD, let's say one of the projects in the second PhD was very impactful for the work environment in EMS. it helps actually exploring something that was never explored before, which is the non-transport decision here in the hospital setting of Qatar. And then one of the important, this is another important thing. So I like to do the data analysis myself. So I don't want anyone else to do my data analysis. And I have some skills and some capabilities in data analysis and statistics. And the reason is, with my respect for all the data engineering and data scientists, that they don't have the heart that we have as a clinician. When we know, what when there is something, a clinical decision, which factor you decide to choose them. It's not only, let's say, the regression analysis outcome or the correlation outcome that drives you. So I had some capabilities. I think that helped a lot, guys. I mean, in this, when you have some capabilities in data analysis and statistics and data science. So I was doing everything myself. So every time I'm working on something in a method, I had that other idea. Why can't I do it the other way? And then I'm doing them. And recently, since few years, I work with coding, with R programming. So when I'm coding all of this together and doing the data analysis, I have 2,000 something lines of code like this with the data analysis. And that's not something easy to do. But when you look at them later, you can see that you can actually do one project from a part and second project from another. And the one that was driving me, it's the quality improvement perspective. So I'm not promoting for anything, but that's one of the best things that I knew is I'm from a side that I'm a researcher and quality improvement expert, let's say, from the other side. And I had this mixture together to bring the academic into the practical field, so people, they can understand it. And every time when I do something, to realize that I'm succeeding on it, so I present it to someone who doesn't know anything about what I'm doing here in the field. And sometimes I do this when I go home to my mother, who doesn't know anything. So if she understands what I'm doing, it means clearly that I'm succeeding. I'm able to translate those academic stuff to the field. So I'm very passionate, yes, true, about it. So I always read, I work even on the plane, everywhere. They were very, very specific years, for 4 or 5 years. They were very specific, honestly. And I sacrificed a lot, and as I said, that I'm very determined person and finisher. When I start something, I want to do it, and effectively. That's most important.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to add to Lan?
Yeah. No, I wanted to add on that question that Elias has asked, and probably someone else that is currently doing a PhD, maybe married, in a relationship, or committed. How important, and now that the tables have turned, with your wife doing a PhD.
Got you. You're married to that now.
I'm keeping quiet. For safety reasons, yes.
How important is that support? Because PhD can take a toll on someone's mental, emotional, and physical health, and I can relate to that. That it demands a lot of time. I mean, Malusi and I are doing a PhD, and Elias soon will be also embarking on the journey. But how important is that emotional support that you get from your spouse, your loved ones, people that are closer to you, even your friends as well that share in the same community? Because I can relate that whenever I speak to Melusi or my partner, is that I can get that comfort, or the people that are in the close circle of friends, that support makes it a huge difference, Even if you're complaining about something, but it helps because there's someone that is listening to you, Like Melusi now, he was venting that he just got an essay, an email, he can't focus on this interview. But the fact that you said it, you can see he's smiling, he feels better now.
Got my coffee too. Got my coffee.
Yeah, thank you, Tulani, actually, man. And I like what you are saying. It's very true. You have to be surrounded by the right people. And I would mention something I read recently in a book from the Boss of Energy, and I advise everyone to read it. It was written by Gordon. And he spoke about something, we call it energy vampires. So those people, energy vampire, if you are surrounded with them, they will be always let you down, bring you back, and never let you go. Also, they will tell you it's very hard to do this. You'll not get anything. You're not going to get any money. You are losing your time. You are losing everything. If you surround yourself with those people, actually, you are going to be affected with what they are saying, and you will be always stepping back, actually, instead of moving forward. So, and this is the key thing for me. So, the support is very important. So this is it. Every time I feel like it's very difficult, and I say, why did I do this to myself? Why I'm doing this? So every time when I do something like this, my wife actually was there, and she sees like when I'm going, let's say, to my very worst time. So she step in and she start like telling me what you are doing now and why don't you do this, and you are doing very, very well, and encourage me actually and support me and boost me. And there were minor things, guys, that I still actually appreciate them. When like I wake up very early or 4 a.m. or something on my off, and we are both off, and I just want to stay outside to review something, study. She herself, despite I tried not to disturb her, she herself, she wakes up and she helps try to support me, prepare coffee, something like that, and to help, let's say, and let's see what you are doing, and to manage in between, to be honest. And she never complained, despite she has the right actually to complain. At many time, I apologize to her that I was not in the level that, I wasn't there. I was really taken by this.
Don't cry, brother.
Yeah. So exactly, actually, it worth it. That's it, that. Okay. But honestly, guys, I mean, she was there with me in very single steps, and she helped me. And actually, that's very important. So as I said here, she was not the energy vampire. She was energy booster. That's what I want to say. She's a vampire, yeah, maybe in some other stuff, but not in the energy. So this is you need to be surrounded by the right people, the right persons, that they will always encourage you and make you feel that you are doing something that is meaningful. And when you publish an article, or let's say prepare a paper, or we do whatever, even small data analysis part, or you write something, a paragraph, to make you feel that it means the world for them.
Interesting. I wanted to say, what's the title of the book again?
It's the Bus of Energy.
The Beds of Energy.
Yes, and it's by Gordon, and it's actually a very nice book, and it speaks about the 10 rules, and it tells this in very good story. When someone had a very bad day, he had a flat tire with his car, and he asked his wife to take him to work, and she refused, and he was very negative thinking all the time. Why she's not helping me? Why she doesn't want to do? And he was very sad because he will be riding the bus to go to work. Okay. And actually, when he ride this bus, he saw something on written 10 rules. Initially, it was very negative to everyone, and it tells the story during this trip. So the people who ride that bus and the driver of the bus, they talk to him about the 10 rules to be successful in your life. And those 10 rules are very important, about how to succeed in your work. So before riding that bus, his boss was deciding already that he's going to fire him because of the productivity. When he stepped out of that bus with these rules and he started immediately applying them, suddenly his boss changed and he became very productive and innovative. And this is what we need to do. So when we do something, we don't, life is so short, and we don't have to waste it in very, very non-meaningful things, or things that just to replicate or to replicate what others are doing. But whenever we are spending time and investing time in doing something, we have to do it with very innovative way, to be impactful. When they see someone that did something, they wouldn't start from zero, and actually they would say, I hope someday they would say that person did this, so we start from there.
Right, Hassan, I think now we're going to move to research, right? And there's two things that we're going to do. The first one will be, I'd like you to give us a summary of this paper, like you're talking to your mother. Yeah. Like what you did. Because the idea is that we take research, we bring it to the operational person on the street. And while at the same time, a person that writes the policies understands what to do, And then after that, we're going to talk about the methods and stuff like that. And then after that, you come back to the research and talk. So the methods part is for the people that love research. I must say though, I think in the papers that I've read, that we normally read, it's normally easy, straightforward. You find one method, or it's two methods, and then it just flows, where you're going with the paper. Yours is not like that. No, it's not like that. It's a whole lot of systems that you have created. And a person that is not used to reading research, they will be easily be thrown out because it's technical. You are a very in-depth thinker. I respect you. I respect you. It's like you're showing off in that this paper.
Yes.
That's what I said. It's like you're just. I'm just gonna show them what I can do. I'm not gonna play it small. I'm just gonna go hard.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's go back. Let's go back and talk about how do you describe this paper? So the title of this paper, if you can Google it, I'm sure Elias is going to post it for you guys. It says Preparedness in Response Strategies for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, and Nuclear Incidents in the Middle East and North Africa, and Artificial Intelligence Enhanced Delphi Study. Yeah, what is that? Many words. What is that?
Yeah, exactly. Many words. It's a very long title. Just I would like to mention this, Malusi, that I was invited the last couple of months by WHO in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
In their EMT, they invited me to speak about this paper specifically and the work that I have done here.
Keep shining. We love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. And actually, it was so they gave me the slot. So one of the WHO, I think, guys, when he was reading it, experts in disaster medicine, he said, "I would like to invite you to speak about it." And I saw that you have a poster already in that event. So when I went there, they gave me 2 slots, and one of them during the innovation in disaster medicine. So it was presented in that context. So actually, yes. So this paper, it's not like other regular paper. It's true. I used a lot of different methodology, and everything was planned. So it didn't come by chance. So I planned from that since the beginning. And what I would like here what was the driver, the driver of this, that the Middle East and North Africa region actually, which is the MENA region, let's say the MENA region, faces actually a lot of risk when it comes to related to CBRN. CBRN, which is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. And here to give you a background that my expertise in disaster medicine, specifically in CBRN, so it comes in this field, beside the quality improvement and the quality and patient safety. So let's be honest, in the Middle East and North Africa region, we have a lot of geopolitical instability, and we have frequent conflicts and infrastructure that differs from a country to another. And that clearly that we need actually to have, how we say this, is specific preparedness, and we have to address various gaps within the region to face various any potential incident of CBRN incidents. And it's not like we think that CBRN is very, yes, it's true, it's rare, but they can always happen at any time. And we would like to remind everyone when in 1995 in Japan, when we had that attack in the subway of Tokyo, that Japan was classified that year the most peaceful country. And yet they had that CBRN attack. So it's expected. And we have a lot of, how we say this, industrial advancement within the country. So that industrial advancement come with the cost as well, because it increases the risk of the CBRN incidents. And what's happening here, that we have a lot of effort actually that they are scattered everywhere. Every country, every person, even the same country, they do some separate effort. They don't want to collaborate with each other. And this is the dilemma here. And we think that we are trying to improve the systems, or let's say the preparedness level for any incident that can happen in the future in disaster management, but it's not actually because it's separate. When it's scattered, you weaken the effort. And what drove me here, it's the what they did in Europe. They have an experience. They call it ENOTS, which kind of ENOTS. It's kind of training program. So they cooperate all of them together to build this training program to empower their staff with the necessary training for the disasters, for disasters such as CBRN. And here, actually, in this paper, in this work, so we try to address the prepare operational response guideline. So I actually spent a lot of effort into preparing that from scratch. And a preparedness checklist that can be it's flexible, can be used for every country. We don't have the same capabilities, especially Middle East and North Africa. So, but that paper actually it can be applicable. That checklist can be applicable in every country. And one of them also, the other part which I tried to write, what we call them a simulation scenario training that simulate actually the real life, the work, to use them when you are managing CBRN incidents in pre-hospital setting and in hospital. And and at the same context, I would like to mention that I was invited to participate from colleagues from Turkey to write a book about the strategies for preparedness for CBRN incident. And in one of the paper, I spoke about these scenarios, and I spoke also about the quality improvement in disaster, in time of disaster. So regarding this one, so we tried actually to address this. And we invited experts from all over the world. And this is maybe we when we have time to speak about it. I'm not sure, Malusi, how we did that. I mean,
Let's go for it.
yeah, exactly. So we when I was thinking, I said we cannot build something from scratch. We need actually to have the experts, the best experts known in the field, and the representative for each country to be able actually to give their opinion about that. And I know this is
Sorry, Hassan. That's why I saw Professor Allen. If you look at the references, is the third one. In other papers, is the second reference, and we've had him on the podcast, so I need to mention that.
Okay. And by the way, I would like to deeply appreciate Dr. Allen, for being. I mean, he's very humble person. And I think I'm very lucky to. Thank you. Appreciate it. I know I wouldn't consider myself. I'm 1/3 of that person. I'm honestly very lucky to meet him, because he's very supportive and humble. And when I contacted him, actually, so how it happened, we didn't know each other. When I emailed him, I explained actually the purpose. I think he saw the purpose, that it's serious and something I'm doing serious. He was very supportive. And he was helping through that all the stages, and actually he was reviewing every single paper out of this. Besides the other colleagues here in Qatar, Professor Guillaume, Dr. James, and other here in Qatar, to be honest. So these are my boss at work, but actually my friends, and they were very supporting actually here. But Dr. Allen was very helpful in this. So we invited, when I contacted, actually I made all of them, Dr. Gregory from Harvard, everyone, and from Canada, from Iran, and I think this is maybe one of the rarest paper when we have people from
even South Korea too. South Korea, so
South Korea, Dr. Eugene, Professor Eugene. I hope that they all forgive me that if I forgot to mention anyone.
There's too many.
Mariana from Lebanon, all of them, they are very supportive. And I think this is also when I said I'm very lucky that when I contacted them, they responded very positively. We built together. So when I showed them the material that I prepared, actually they reviewed each one of them, and they were very positive into reviewing them. And then everyone was thinking, how am I going to interview, all of the experts from different countries? When actually, expert, when you speak of someone like Professor Allen or anyone, they don't have time actually to do this, or Dr. Gregory. So what I have done, I used an application. So I searched about it. I found an application that is online, that when you can record the video to respond. It's like interviewing someone. So I recorded all my questions there, and you were able actually to answer them in audio or video or writing, according to their preferred way. And it saves automatically every answer they submit. So if they can respond now to 2 questions, then later they carry on to decide to the other 3, and tomorrow they carry on the remaining. And every time they try to log in, it takes them exactly where they stopped. Well, that's one dimension in the reference to this application. So I searched a lot about it, and English is my third language, as you know, guys. So my mother tongue language is Arabic, then French, and that actually helped because I translated questions to Arabic and French, and I uploaded them all into that application, and it was very. So that's one of the steps, starting with interview. So first we started interviewing these experts, and then when I got their results, I analyzed them, and based on that, I started building for the next phase, which is building for the question, for the checklist. And I wrote my scenarios exactly according to them, and I prepared the response guideline for CBRN incidents according to their answers, the experts. And then I did the systematic review. It was actually 3 years work, and I was not alone with the team. So again, my wife was a co-researcher here. She was the second reviewer, Professor Guillaume, Dr. James, Professor Mohammed Ben Diab. So that was a systematic review for every single every single paper since ever, since before until 2020 when we did that paper. So we started initially with more than 3,000 paper, then we moved down to 300, and then I read every single paper, one of them, to try to figure out what they did exactly. So this is here when it comes, guys, to your question earlier about being determined, how you can do this. So I I take my iPad with me, and every time I find a space of time, I just start reading the paper and do some notes. And then we build the final guidelines and scenarios here, and there you can find the remaining details in the paper.
Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, is two methods that he has used. The first one is called the Delphi method, where he takes the experts, put them together in one way or the other. So he was smart about it, found the software that he used that can assist him to capture what they're saying in their time, in their comforts, in their countries, not necessarily having to be together, which is brilliant. And then after that, he went and did the systematic review. We looked at the research that is currently in that space, and and then he published those two papers. But let me see on this one, because if you Google your name, Dr. Hassan, you find a whole lot of stuff of papers with the similar language. So I want us to make this practical. I think for a person who is a clinician, a person that works on the road, there was an incident in the UK where a person who was a former Russian spy was killed. That was in 2018. That's recent history. We also have another guy that was trying to run for presidency in Russia that was also killed in a mysterious circumstance. And these agents that I use there, the agents are these either chemical, or I think it's chemical in this case, and they you can't see them. It's hard to identify. They do not smell.
True.
Yeah. Now, in a country like, let's say, Australia or South Africa, a developed country or a developing country, a developing economy. For example, in South Africa, there's going to be a G20 summit that is coming. Yeah.
Okay.
Where everyone is flocking there. And if you Google in the Australian travel advice, they say that the advice, be cautious, there's a G20 summit because there's something like that. So now let's say a person is trying to develop a policy to prepare their team and how to manage this. What do they do?
Where do you start?
Where do you start now? After seeing Dr. Hassan's paper, Farhad's paper, what do you do? What do you do after that?
Actually, I like what you mentioned right now, Malusi, because I actually I spoke of that incident about the Russian spy who was killed in UK. I mentioned it in one of the papers, so I tried to speak about it in detail. And yes,
I read it.
Yeah, exactly. So when they used that, so the thing that and I like also when you mentioned about the summit in South Africa, because in one of the scenarios that I prepared out of these papers, simulation scenarios, it includes visitors that came from a country, from multiple country to for an event, medical event, and there were an incident. And for regular clinician, let's say on the road, we work every day, or emergency department, that might look like something out of normal, but all of them, they have the sign of symptoms that we know them: diarrhea and vomiting and then convulsion. But actually, when you see a lot of people that they share the same signs and symptoms of such thing, it means that most probably it's CBRN incidents. It's an attack, biological agents here. So I like what you are saying. So we need actually to expect that. And this is what I appreciate the most. So let's be honest. Worldwide, as you see, now the world is not stable. So we have a lot of differences. And there will be always this attempt of someone trying to kill the other person. And there is also that some people, they use this to fight with their beliefs the wrong way. And we call them the extremists. So when they are not able to convince you with something, their aim is to convince you with force. And in order to do this, they try to make you feel with fear. And how to feel with fear? Kill as much as possible, or harm as much as possible to feel their strength. And we have them, let's be honest, we have those people everywhere. You can never know them, that sometimes they can be next to you or somewhere.
Yes.
And so in order to be seen for them, they choose actually these specific events, like when everyone is there, or people from multiple countries, to do it, regardless of the outcome of what you want to do. And when they do it, I mean, to kill as much as possible, or to harm, let's say, not to kill, I mean, to harm as much as possible. So in such gathering events, that mass gathering event are the most actually vulnerable, events for such incidents. And it's not only that about just so we have different events, religious events, like we have Al-Hajj in Saudi Arabia. They spent a lot of preparedness, along the years, just to ensure the safety and protection of everyone. We have a lot of summit everywhere. And trust me, I'm sure that in order to be successful in your preparedness plan, you need to consider this happening, And we rather prefer to be ready for something than not being ready at all. Let's say that's not going to happen. Let's not get prepared for it and just leave it like that. But when it happens, actually, it's going to induce a lot of injuries. And we are clinicians, like you said, like life matter a lot, regardless, And we don't want to see people are being sick, and that's why we choose this field, the pre-hospital care. It's because we want to help people. And this is what I'm telling them. It's different from people who work in the hospital. So when you are working outside, it's very difficult. It can be rainy weather. It can be snowing where we are coming from, or probably it can be very hot when, like here in Qatar. But we want to help people. So this is probably so this is one of the drivers also, that we need to get ready and prepared for the incident, regardless or they are going to happen or not. We have always to consider that something is going to happen. And this is actually what the history taught us. As I said, Japan, that's one of them. And there are multiple events in every single country in the world until recently, especially in Africa. We know this. So when they have different regimes, they are trying to fight. Always the easiest thing to make the people scared of that regime is just show them how weak it is. And how we can show that the regime is weak when you induce an incident that kills or harm as much as possible. And sorry guys, just the difference here, that the CBRN are not like the other weapon that you can detect them; they are undetectable. So like the incident that was used in Russian to kill the spy, that spy, it was just in perfume, So you can never detect that it's there, It's undetectable. So. The anthrax before also was undetectable in US in 2001. So all of this material, CBRN materials, they are undetectable. So that's why they are easiest actually, and they are being operationalized everywhere. So we need to be careful. That's why.
So I guess in this case, there's nothing that you can do to prevent. I guess maybe they can try, but the issue is how you react to it is where we can try and act.
Yeah. Let's be honest, to prevent, there are also mitigation plans for every risk. But we have to admit that it's still a risk, Malusi. I mean, it's an unavoidable risk, let's say. So you can try as much as possible to reduce that. You can control the markets of such materials. You can maybe do some rules that are going to be very strong in controlling and managing and monitoring the exchange of these materials or their use inside the healthcare facility or elsewhere, industrial area. And this is actually one of the elements of the readiness checklist that we did in that paper, is to assess actually how much you are ready for that. And you have to ensure that you have the legal context into this, the appropriate laws that categorize and organize this. So we included that in the checklist actually that it came out of this paper. So to show how what's the level of your strength in this. And that paper is just, the beginning of bigger work, because we need to be thinking also about leveling the outcome of the preparedness level, and then probably stratify the response plans and everything according to that.
Look, I'm seeing a trend with you, Dr. Hassan, when I listen to you. And when I listened to you, when you started the podcast earlier, when you introduced yourself, you said that when you were working in Tunisia, you were interested in disaster management, but also 10 years later, or I don't know how many years later, but you then also embarked on a PhD journey where you focused on something that you're passionate. The way you speak about it, you're very knowledgeable, and you've shared a lot of information that is valuable, things that I never even thought of. Yeah. I think one of the things that you mentioned is being preparedness. I think some of the things that you highlighted in your paper, like the Chernobyl disaster that happened in Russia. Is it Russia?
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of them.
it's something that means, and it's not a question, it's just a comment, is that the serious critical errors that were made by inadequately trained operators in the Chernobyl incident, who were poorly trained for plane safety tests, is that resulted in Chernobyl happening. And also they tried to conceal when things were going wrong, to try and not let it go out of control. But in them doing that, it ended up becoming a disaster. So today, the country is still suffering in that area from those disasters. I think it's important that people listening to this is that disaster management is important. And from this is that disaster management forms an important aspect of emergency medical services. No, it does not exist on its own, but it plays an important role. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, but no, that's very true, actually, to Lani. And we have also to think here that CBRN, when everyone think about CBRN, they think about the intentional. And this is the example that I mentioned here. But some of them, they can be accidental, such as, because we have industrial advancement, especially in Middle East and North Africa here, and here in GCC mostly, that we are advancing and moving forward. We have petrochemical products, and we have that in Africa everywhere. So, and I saw also in the hosters, I mentioned that in the papers, that some of the incidents in Ghana and many other countries. So, and the other incident and the other type that we have to think of is the natural one, such as the pandemic COVID-19. It was here, so we had no sign that something is coming. So suddenly we found ourselves facing a disease that is spreading, regardless of whether it was operationalized as well or not. But it was a pandemic there, and there will be always something coming soon. I mean, it just rest. And remember, before we had H1N1, and I recall at that time we never thought that such a virus, or let's say everyone say influenza virus, is going to kill people. Honestly, everyone's just going to take some anti-inflammatory paracetamol and everything is going to be fine. In the worst case scenario, yes, exactly, antibiotics. But was not the case. And we see that the viruses are evolving, even nowadays. And I'm sure this during the clinical, shifts. So we can see that even the clinical presentation of some of the patients is honestly different from before, like when someone is having a grippal infection. So it's really different from before. It's not like, we used to see it a few years back. And this is actually very important. And yes, Tulani also, so what drove me here was mostly the passion, because disaster medicine is not something that I'm just interested in. I'm very passionate about it. And when everyone speaks about response and we need to buy and do things, but we need actually to think about stuff and items that we can do, such as preparing our staff and make them knowledgeable. And we have that protected. We have the legal, the ethical framework and the educational framework. And then we need to think about the capabilities. And it was never about that, actually. And when I give them the example, I tell them in the World War II. So Japan and Germany, they were the countries that they were actually almost totally destroyed, right? I think 80% of their infrastructure that were destroyed. And yet you see where they are right now. So it's not only about, capabilities, or money. It's about the will itself. And this is what I'm trying to say here, that we need to allocate. This is not going to happen in a few years, but we need to start somewhere and to build something for the future generation. So we'll try to tell them that we need to build about what we can do here, educational framework and ethical framework. And that's not perfect, I'm sure, but it's something that they can build on it.
Yeah. Wow, a lot to digest. Sorry, I was just holding a few comments and few trying and hoping I can get a space in there. I like few of the points that are made. I think from Chernobyl to sort of like COVID. And I remember when COVID happened, no one knew what to do. No one knew where to tend to. No one had any protocols or so. And I think one of the other things as well is that we lacked the collaboration to share information, factual information. And as Tulani said, when Chernobyl happened, they tried concealing it instead of like sharing the actual detailed information. And I think there is a lack of channels to say that this is the channel that we are going to communicate. It's an approved, existing channels within nations where we communicate factual information and try and get information across. So I think the theme that I'm getting here is be prepared. And I think from one of our earlier podcasts, we had a gentleman from Zimbabwe, and he kept saying since he was under-resourced, the main thing that he tried focusing on was try and prevent before we react. So I think I think it's a very important aspect when it comes to disaster management. I think just because of time, I'll probably try and pause there. But yeah, a lot of things to sort of like chew on and try and digest, really. Malusi.
Look, Hassan, thank you very much.
My pleasure, honestly.
We highly appreciate you. This 55 minutes has been very informative. Literally every line has a punch in it. And I had questions. You've covered everything that is in the questions. And I think there was a question that I was going to talk about EMS in Tunisia. You answered that in 2 words. I'm not sure if everyone heard.
I think we need to leave this.
I heard him. He answered. He said that in Tunisia, there's a bachelor degree, and then it's Francophone, and that's it. And it's up to you. You go and Google those words. You'll find out what is that.
So if it's, let's just say, so there are two types of
yeah.
Which is scoop and run and treating on sea. Yeah. And us in Tunisia, that we focus to treat everything on sea rather than transporting that to the hospital.
Yeah. Yes. So for people that do not know much about those things, it'll be, what happened there? But we can pause this for 15 minutes and you listen to it, and then you get a lot of information, and then start again for another 15 minutes to get a lot of information. Well done. We highly appreciate you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time. Keep on doing the good work. We hope to have you again when you have another complicated methodology that you have employed.
Another PhD also.
PhD if you want.
No, I got warning about that from the wife, No more mentioning about study, about PhDs.
Those are bad words. PhD, bad words in this house. We don't mention that.
Exactly. For safety issues.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Farhat. We highly appreciate you. Keep on doing the good work, and we thank you for your time and everything that you have shared.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Malusi, Tolani, and Elias. It was really my pleasure, and it was an honor for me. And thank you very much for this opportunity. And yes, that's it. Well done, guys. Carry on what you are doing, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you.